The Bears opened last season with the loss to the Green Bay Packers and yet went on to win the NFC North. Fast forward to this year, the Bears lose to the Green Bay Packers, but you know what? Everything feels so different. I think part of it is that last year there weren't any expectations. We were kind of hopeful that the Bears were going to come in and play well and that maybe things could break our way. And even though it was a devastating loss, a game that should have been won, you walked out of that game feeling encouraged like, hey, the Bears really have something here. This team could actually go on to do a lot of good things, even though it wasn't the result that we wanted. You felt pretty good about the direction of the team. This season, I believe, with the expectations, with the NFL 100, the celebration in Chicago, it really was a wonderful day leading up to just about kickoff. And you know what? I will even throw in the first couple of series as well. The thing is, we were flying high. We were expecting so much out of this team that to come out and score just 3 points, that's pretty disappointing. Although I will say it is rare that you can have a NFL season opener that matches the intrigue and excitement of the Super Bowl. So at least compared to last year's Super Bowl, I guess it's on brand for the NFL. The last 2 games we have seen from the NFL have been 10-3 snooze fest. Or you know what? I don't even remember what the score of the Super Bowl was because I don't care because the Bears weren't in it. Here's the thing, though. I'm a little bit disturbed by a number of things. But first, before we do that, let's talk about some positives. Obviously, the defense is very good. Khalil Mack is held on every play. At some point, referees, it's fine to call a penalty. You know, the play that the Packers were able to extend a drive when they went and kicked that field goal, and they had the illegal contact, I think it was Fuller on Davante Adams. You know that the Bears were held. They sacked Rodgers even though they were being held. And Rodgers said, oh, look at those guys. Like, hey, bro, like your line holds on every single play. It has not been called. So shut up. I'm tired of that. So go ahead and call that. I think Roquan Smith, especially in the early going, was in on every play. And the defense is as good as advertised. They are better than they were last year. I know it's a hot take to come out and say that, especially after what happened when we're reeling from a disappointing loss. The thing is, crushed the soul of Aaron Rodgers again. Like, shut down Aaron Jones, shut down Davante Adams. There's a lot of good, and especially for an offense, for the Bears offense wasn't even really moving the football. So for them to go out there and play as well as they did, they should be commended. A tip to the cap to them. I'm sorry they didn't get you the fantasy points as you wanted, but you're all fine. That was a great defensive effort. The real problem comes offensively. I'm not going to sit here and just completely dismiss Mitch Trubisky and say that this is a failed experiment, because in truth, if we're going to sit here and say that Mitch Trubisky is done after one game, well, then what? Then are we dismissing Rodgers? Are we having that conversation? I want to see the stories that come out that say Aaron Rodgers is washed, or is it just a circumstance where when you don't have these guys play during the preseason, they're going to come out a little bit rusty? And while that was terrible, and it was a little bit worse than I would have wanted it to be, the fact of the matter remains, this team doesn't play during the preseason. I think after 2 years under Matt Nagy, it's time to really examine what is going on there. Perhaps you should take a page out of the New England Patriots, who play their guys during the preseason. The Steelers play their guys during the preseason. I saw Ben Roethlisberger out there throwing passes. What is going on? I understand it's some hipster new age. This is the way the millennials do it. We don't do preseason. But it lends itself to awful opening season football games. And everybody is so upset about how much money you're spending on preseason games. What about the people who spent money to go to last night's game? That was not great. But there is a couple of things that really disturbed me, though, that you can't dismiss as, well, it's early, we'll get it figured out. Because last year there were times when it was third and short, where Matt Nagy really didn't want to go to Jordan Howard when it seemed obvious that he probably should. And you thought, well, perhaps this is just somebody that doesn't fit into his offense. Now they went out and they got David Montgomery, and you think, hey, all right, let's give this a chance. There's no way that we're not going to go out and give the ball to our running back on 3rd and short. And yet, that's exactly what they did. And I think everybody can conjure up in their mind the images of Cordero Patterson getting a carry on 3rd and short, a play that was so hilariously blown up that I can't even think about it without getting upset. If there was one thing, you go out and you lose a game, you're not quite as sharp, that's fine. But when there are instances when you can point to the play calling and say, this is exactly the problem here, that to me is the bigger issue. Now, obviously, Mitch missed some throws, but at the same time, the play calling on 3rd and short, who knows what would have happened? I know Matt Nagy went out in his press conference and talked about, hey, we never really got into a rhythm. Establish that rhythm by running the football. Even Matt LaFleur ran the ball on his first play call as an NFL head coach. It's not a shit. You're not admitting defeat if you're trying to run the football. I know, again, BU. I love it. I love Matt Nagy. I hope he is the long-term coach of the Chicago Bears. But at some point, you've got to get out of your own way and maybe, and this is me, just hand the ball off and see what happens. You've got a great offensive line with 5 returning starters. Use them. Let them bulldozer some guys and stop being so predictable. We know exactly what's going to happen when you're running trips. Please mix it up just a bit. That's all. But I love you. I think everything's going to be great. I feel bad mostly for Allen Robinson, who looked amazing. Allen Robinson was crushing the Eagles last year. He was crushing the Packers on Thursday night. Get him the football a little bit more too. But again, listen, this is what happens when you guys don't go out and participate in the preseason. Now you got Vic Fangio and the Denver Broncos, a guy who knows your tendon. Listen, he coached with you for a year, so it's not like he's your long-term assistant. But you know what? You're going to have to think of some other ways because he's going to devise some schemes, and he's going to know how to attack Mitch Trubisky, and this is going to be the real test. If the Bears start off 0-2, my enthusiasm might be dampened. But you know what? You have an opportunity. You got 10 days. Get this shit together. Go, turn it around, and let's go. Until next week. Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry if you started David Montgomery in your fantasy teams. That's on me.